Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Friday, June 13th, 2025 by Gaia Blooming. I am Mimi, and our energy mantra for today is I trust the revolution evolution is helping me expand and change. Whew. Okay, so today is Friday the 13th, a day to honor the feminine, a day to honor the goddess energy. And let that energy rise. Let the Shakti in us all rise to help support what's coming this weekend. So we don't have a huge amount of things going on Friday, which is good because we've got some major background noise. We've got some major background transits that are happening. We are still in the square. In fact, it's going to be early on Friday that we reach the exact square of the nodes with the sun in Gemini at 22 degrees, this mastery energy, which is a reminder, a really good reminder for this weekend to see where we can jet off to use your illusion land, to imagination land, to sitting in the clouds and daydreaming, because reality might be really intense. No, it's not might. Reality will be intense this weekend. There will be intense things happening in the reality. And a lot of things that I've been seeing lately are like, we're not meant to process the amount of information and trauma that we've been processing these days with how much awareness we have of what's happening in the world. And I think the awareness is needed so we can see where we're at, but at the same time, it is a lot. And so just knowing that part of the work is knowing when you need to go into your own bubble and align with your higher self and align with your vision and align with the goodness, right? So we have that square today. Like I said, that is preparing us for this weekend. But I don't want to just brush over Friday the 13th because I think it's a beautiful, I'm going to call it a holy day. I think it's a holy day. It's funny because I've had, growing up Catholic, my mom would say about various days, this is one of our high holy days in the church. But I think this is one of our high holy days of remembering the yin, the feminine of the world. 13 represents the feminine. And Friday is also Freya or Frigg, various goddesses. It can also be Venus. Friday is also Venus Day. And so connecting into that yin is going to be helpful as we move into this weekend's shenanigans. So I want to look at this weekend's shenanigans. So what we're going to have is Saturday, we're going to have the moon and Pluto aligning. And that's going to be early in the morning. And from there on, the intensity is just going to keep rising. Now, to be fair, today on Friday, we have Mars reaching 28 Leo. Uranus is at 28 Taurus. So this is one of our squares. This is one of our squares that we're working into. And Mars and Uranus together are very fireworky. So Mars and Leo, inner child wounding, inner child innocence, ego, heart, love. All of these energies are going to be up on the line, and they are going to be passionate as these energies bubble up, right? It's very passionate. Uranus is triggering, and when passion gets triggered, there's a lot of times a reaction, right? And so here we have some major reactive energies. Now, Mars and Uranus will reach their peak square at 2:47 a.m. Pacific time on Sunday. But, of course, that's not the only one. Of course, we also have Jupiter, which is also going to be reaching its 1 degree, probably late on Friday, early on Saturday, depending where you're living. But we're going to have Jupiter and Saturn also in a square. And what this brings is Jupiter will be expanding the feeling capability of the Cancer energy. And squaring Saturn in Aries. Aries, again, has a reactive, fiery energy to it. So here we have another reaction. Now, again, this is happening early in the morning, 7:36 a.m. Pacific time. But we are going to be feeling this all building on Saturday. And with that moon, Pluto, moon loves to be like, oh, see this little thing here? You didn't see it. I'm going to show you that. Ta-da! It's a lot. It's also interesting. What I do like about this is that Saturn and Jupiter are teachers. And so I think there are lessons for us to learn about ourselves, specifically in this astro, about ourselves, about our ego, about our inner child. And we need to pay attention to where those energies are getting triggered and where we need to nurture, support, tend to ourselves. And so I think that's part of this Friday the 13th energy that's holding space for it. I also think there's a lot of change in the air as we have the nodes squaring the sun. And so it's also being aware and willing to look and work where you need to make changes. And I also want to mention the fact that we're going to have the moon in Aquarius. The moon in Aquarius attunes us all to the collective. And that's something to really be aware of in these days, and like even more so ongoing as Uranus prepares to move into Gemini. We all have antennas and we're all tuning in. It's all a projection. We tune in, we feel all of this stuff. And so some of what you're feeling is just like the energy of things. And so part of the work is even just like recognizing that you're feeling, doing your own kind of clearing, grounding, whatever you need to do to support yourself, but also recognizing that energy at play in all of these things. I'm going to show you one of my chaos cards, Divine Wisdom. I trust my inner wisdom and know that it guides me towards my highest good. Did this come out with the, I don't think this came with the full moon scope, but we had a different owl card. But here's owl. And part of the wisdom of owl is like sitting up high and like seeing, being able to see and survey all around. Looking, surveying is going to help you as these energies are moving through. So utilizing that as an image could be helpful. Let's look at my other cards. We have the maturity card. This is definitely an opportunity for maturity to move through these energies, right? This is also the Ace of Pentacles, and that in and of itself, it's the Ace of Earth. It's about like staying grounded, staying rooted. Here we have a tree, experiencing. There are lessons in this energy. And I think sometimes the lesson is where we need to show up and honor the warrior, Saturn and Aries. And sometimes the lesson is where we need to show up and be brave enough to look at and face ourselves and what's coming up in ourselves. Patience will be a big help in and through this. I don't mean patience like you're waiting for something, but just having patience through these energies. Taking deep breaths, counting to 10 before responding, right? In and through this. We've got inner voice in reverse, which is interesting. What I'm taking this as, like, reality, South Node Virgo, and just everything that's happening, Sun in Gemini, is going to be in your face. And you might not be as attuned as you want, or even usually would be, to your intuition. So be aware of that. We've also got the schizophrenia card in reverse. And so it might be confusing how you're being called to show up in this energy, especially as there's going to be a lot of triggering, especially with everything that's going on. And this is where you really got to drop down inside and really listen to yourself. So owl in the tree, owl in the rooted tree, right? Eight of Cups. Oof. Feels like throwing it all away emotionally because it's so intense. There's a roll of toilet paper here. So, might feel a little poopy right now. That roll of toilet paper. This energy, these are not some fun transits coming in. So, just be very aware of that. Love this. Confidence. Personal power. I think that may have to do with some of this Uranus energy and some of the inner child, that there may be places where your confidence in yourself was denied and that you have to learn to build it up and trust yourself. Saturn in Aries, trust yourself. Saturn in Aries, take responsibility for yourself. Ooh, love this for Friday the 13th. Sauvage, she who is wild, untamed, wild, mysterious. That is the essence of yin. Embracing that energy in and through this. And that might actually be a bit of an outlet for some of these energies moving through. I think hibiscus also feels very connected to this Friday the 13th. Beauty and happiness. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. What I think of this is like hibiscus is great for your skin, your complexion, tending to yourself, nurturing yourself on that level. Finally, we've got Queen of Pentacles. Again, it's just bringing a very grounded but sovereign feel as we move through these energies. I want to also show you a little sacred geometry thing popped up in there. You never know what's going to pop up in the Cat Chaos card. So just a little sacred spiral there. I'm sending you all so much love, hugs, calmness, grounded energy for the next several days. Have a blessed Friday the 13th. High Holy Day. For the yin, we need some of that, right? And you can book a reading if you would like some support. Email me, mimiclark@gmail.com. And the better it gets, the better it gets. There's more than enough love in the world for you. You have the power. And remember who you are. Oh, I'm doing it. I went into my automatic, didn't I? Remember who you are. Came out for a reason. That's going to be important this weekend. But may your guiding light be strong as you're remembering who you are. And know that you can trust the process. Namaste.